Hello everyone, welcome to Career Talk. This is Anand. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would request you to subscribe and also press the bell icon. It will help you get my new videos as soon as I post them. Thank you. Today's video is about resume making. Yes, today we are going to talk about how to make your CV or how to make your biodata. So these tips will help you get your CVs get more attention, and it will also help you get it shortlisted more frequently. So let's get started. So the number one thing which I would like to suggest is don't make a very lengthy biodata. Your biodata should be concise. Don't make a biodata more than 1 pages or 2 pages. Now why so? The reason being that nobody today has that much of attention time, right? So if you make a biodata which spans over 5 pages or 7 pages, the hiring manager or the recruiter, right, does not have that much time to go through the entire biodata. So they want to see all the information that they're looking for in the first 2 pages, right? So it is really important that you create very short biodata, 1 or 2 pages at maximum. This will help the recruiter or the hiring manager scan it and look for the right information. They generally spend some 30 seconds or 40 seconds or maximum minute to look at one biodata. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is use the right keywords, right? So if you are applying for a software engineer job or a business analyst job or a data analyst job, and if you have relevant experience, all these keywords in your biodata should be highlighted in bold so that the person who is reading the resume, gets directly focused on the things that they want to look at. The next important thing is your email address. Email address should be again short and concise. Don't make a very long email address. So for example, if I take my email address, if I make an email address like Anand_Vaisham_1977 or 78 at gmail.com, then that makes it very difficult for the recruiters to remember. Even if it's a copy paste that they want to do, there are chances that they will make mistakes. So make it very short and very concise. It is very easy for them to remember and they're sending you emails. Also the phone numbers, sometimes people make this mistake of mentioning an incorrect phone number or a phone number which is from the past, or they somehow by mistake mention one digit incorrectly, which messes up the entire thing, right? So make sure that your phone number and email address are accurately mentioned and are the latest ones. Next important thing is when you write about your work experience, mention the projects that you have done or the role that you have played in very short. Do not explain the entire thing in 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs in the CV. If you do that, you actually have mentioned the things that you want to speak in the interview in the CV itself. If you write too many things in the CV, what are you going to speak, right? So make it very short and concise. Maybe 2 lines for a project is more than enough. You should just speak about the project or about your role, nothing more than that. One more silly mistake which most of the people make, and it's a very careless one, is that they don't do a spell check or a grammar check before they send their CVs. At times what happens is the customer or the client just rejects CVs because they have a lot of spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes. So this is a very basic thing. Make sure that you run a grammar check or a spell check before you send your CV to anyone. One more thing which comes to my mind is that people sometimes use an objective at the top of the CV. So they mention that, okay, my objective in my career is to align my goals with my future organization's goal, etc., etc. I don't know what that means. If, as far as possible, I think that is not needed. Those objective and AM, etc., from the top 2 lines should be removed. Your CV should just start with your name, with your phone number, email address, and then the work experience, education, qualification, etc. No need to mention your objective as such. And also at the same time, towards the end of the CV, sometimes people have a disclaimer. I don't know what that means and why we have to give a disclaimer saying that all the information mentioned in the CV is accurate, right? Because if it is your CV and you're writing something, it has to be accurate and it has to be the truth. So I don't think that disclaimer makes any sense unless it is asked for by the recruiting company so that they can make use of it as a legal clause. Otherwise, I don't think it's important. These days, a lot of CVs are circulated or searched over the internet. It is important that you also use some of the keywords or hashtags inside your CVs. So if a CV or a profile or or summary of your profile is uploaded somewhere, make sure that you use the right keywords, right certifications, right hashtags in your CV so that it gets visible to the search engines as well. So that's a very important point that you should follow. And the most important thing in your CV is the content. If you write content in your CV which you have not done in real life, then it's going to be very costly for you. at times people, what they do is they write fake experience, or they write experience of work which they have never done, or they mention technologies on which they are not confident. I really don't understand why people mention these things in the CV, because in the first place, as soon as you send a CV to someone, you are actually offering them to ask you questions. So in your interview, the interviewer is going to read everything from the CV and ask you questions, because you have said that you have worked on this technology, or you have worked on this skill, or you have this kind of work experience. So my request to you is that if you are not exposed to any skill, or if you don't have experience, please don't mention that in the CV. Mention only those things that you know. Anything outside of your knowledge area or area of expertise should not be mentioned. And also in your CV, you should have one area where you should mention the scale, right? The scale or the grade of your experience. If you have, let's say, 10 years of experience, and if your expertise level in one of the technology is 8 on a scale of 10, then those things you should mention in the CV, because that is obviously going to be an interview question. And if you're very confident, why not write it on the CV, so that the interviewer knows, okay, this is the area where this person is confident, and most of the questions will again, start from there. So that will help you drive the conversation in the area that you want the interviewer to ask questions on. All right, so to summarize, these are the things that we have spoken of. One, don't create 5-6 pages of CV, create maximum 1 or 2 pages. Don't send your CV before you do a spell check. Okay, make sure that your email address and phone number are accurate. Don't use very long email addresses. Write only those things which you are very confident of. Don't write things which you are not confident of. Don't write project descriptions which are very lengthy. Write short project descriptions. In fact, if I was you, what I would do is I would create 2 CVs. One CV which is a short CV, which is 1 page or 2 pager, which I am going to send to the employer or to the HR or the recruitment team, and I will create a blown up version of the same CV. Create a 2-page CV for the HR, and I'll create a 5-page CV for myself. So this 5-page CV is actually going to have answers or details of all those things, right? Projects, technologies, challenges, risks, or issues that I have faced, or highlights, right? These are actually answers to the questions that the interviewer is going to ask. So I'm going to keep that 5-6 pages version of the CV with myself, and I'm going to send a 2-page version to the interviewer. So that is the way I prepare myself, right? So that's one important tip for all of you. Before we close, I just want to say that I have created some templates. So if you are a Java developer, or if you are a business analyst or a data analyst, I have some 1 page or 2 pages of template, which again I have based on some of the industry leaders. For example, Elon Musk, right, or Marissa Mayer have 1-page CV which are very famous. I've created certain templates based on their CVs. If you are interested, I can share that with you. So if you subscribe to the channel, do comment in this video, and I'll get back to you, and I'll send the template that works for you. Okay, I hope that will be helpful for you. So that was it in today's video, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. Till then, take care. Bye for now.